to get on the road again.
Catch Willie Nelson and family, Neil Young, John Mellencamp, Dave Matthews, Bobby Weir, and more, live from Noblesville, Indiana. It's Farm Aid 2023, all day Saturday at Willie's Roadhouse, Dave Matthews Band Radio, and the Grateful Dead channel.
Don't waste valuable time managing playlists, downloading, or sifting through commercials when you could be zoning out, rocking out, or just kicking back to the music you love. Visit SiriusXM.com/go to quickly sign up online and activate your radio. SiriusXM offers commercial-free music from nearly every genre at the touch of a button. Select your favorite channels, set your presets, and let SiriusXM's music experts handle the rest. Subscribe now and activate your radio. Visit SiriusXM.com/go to sign up online quickly or call 844-711-8800 now.
Amazing moments happen so much at SiriusXM. We want you to see them. SiriusXM Video lets you watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artist you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
Get the SiriusXM app and listen on your phone when you get out of the car. Anywhere you take your phone, you can take Howard Stern, NFL Radio, and commercial-free music channels from nearly every genre. You never have to miss your favorite SiriusXM programs or commercial-free music. Find the SiriusXM app in the App Store or call 844-711-8800 or visit SiriusXM.com/app to find out more.
This is where former latchkey kids come to get their 90s grunge kicks. Unlocking a decade's worth of commercial-free alternative rock. SiriusXM Lithium. To listen to Lithium, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or head to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly.
Dance, work out, or just vibe to EDM anthems. And discover new dance and electronic sounds. Move to today's dance hits on BPM, Channel 51, and on the SiriusXM app, included in all trials and popular plans.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see.
The NFL is on SiriusXM. Hear every game on your radio. And with your hometown announcers and local pre- and post-game shows, it's always a home game on the SiriusXM app. Touchdown! Kansas City! Get ready for game day with weekly shows from NFL greats Phil Simms, Larry Fitzgerald, and Tom Brady.
To hear NFL radio, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visiting SiriusXM.com/go.
Amazing moments happen so much at SiriusXM. We want you to see them. SiriusXM Video lets you watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artist you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
Feel the beat of vibrant African hits and trending sounds. Bob Marley Stuff Beats, a SiriusXM channel that takes you on a rhythm-filled journey from Lagos to Joburg, featuring Rema, Burna Boy, Ira Star, and the artists reshaping the sound of Africa. Bob Marley Stuff Beats, for a limited time starting Thursday on channel 105 and anytime year-round in the SiriusXM app.
With the SiriusXM Platinum VIP plan, you can unlock the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritized customer care. Plus, get access to over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP.
Offer details apply. Not available in Canada.
On your phone?
I can't believe it!
Every game, all season. It's all on the SXM app. Sports the way they're meant to be heard, with your hometown announcers just a tap away. Search for your team, then tap the star on the corner of the screen and save it as your favorite.
It is gone! An incredible finish!
And if you love college sports, when the game is on, just search for your school. It's always a home game when you listen to sports on the SXM app. Free for most subscribers.
Grande Deportes, bonjour! Vidi Vidi Vici, let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe with 28 podcast applications. And you can Google it. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up! I guess I gotta stop doing it at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm just trying to bring the neighborhood together. The same way that I think, what was the name of that show? Bugs Bunny and Roadhouse. Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner. They never got along, but they always got together. Get together some praise. You gotta get that some praise on the beautiful September 19th, 2023 in Dimdale Hills, California. Had another reparations task force meeting over in San Francisco. I'll be talking about that. Yeah, give that some praise. They gotta give it some praise. No more shucking and jiving. Really do appreciate that. And also got some Major League Baseball power rankings. Want to get into the power rankings. Gas will talk about some college football. And also Michigan State had another issue with relations. And Mel Tucker is paying the price. But I think it's his own fault. I don't take sides. I just wanna tell you what I know. I want to say you can follow Big C Sports Podcast. Give that some praise on Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser. You can also find us on Amazon Podcast, Good Pods Podcast. Also, you can find Big C Sports Podcast on Geo Savan out of London, England, as well as India and Africa. Give that some praise. You can find it on Podtail, YouTube, Hubhopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, Freepod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes Podcast Wise, Podbay, Verbal Podcast, Podcast Odyssey, Podcast Republic. I'm telling you, there's one that used to scare me, but now it doesn't. It's called AllFeeds.ai. The robots are trying to take over. Don't give that praise to me. Turn them off, please. I gotta turn them off switch. It's known by the great Teddy Pendergrass. Everybody needs. There's 2 things you need in your purse when you're going out, or for you men can wear a purse too. When you're going out in Dimdale Hills, it's nice to have your ID. You gotta have an ID on you. It's nice to have some mace. You gotta have some mace on you. It's also good to have some Teddy Pendergrass. So when somebody's not acting right, you say, turn them off! And light a candle, and then you get that some praise. Love bringing that to you. I had a conversation today with Big C Sports Podcasting and Joel Osteen. Give that some praise. I'm not making this stuff up. A lot of good things coming in Dimdale Hills. I don't even know what to say. I just want to give that praise as I always do. Big C Sports Podcast Mission with Pastor Joel Osteen in televangelism. If I want to expand my horizons, I want to expand my horizon, if that makes sense to you. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast, streaming OTT on 4TV platforms all over the universe. Say that 4 times. Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. Love giving that praise. You know, I want to say today's show is a little bit different, and it always is. You always see that curry. Well, I always mean that, if that makes sense to you. Number 1, I produce the show. Number 2, I direct the topics. And number 3, I broadcast all the shows. Number 4, I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter in our lives. I know I can. And I even tell you, the commercials are done. The stats are provided. I even do the storytelling. What I really love is the play-by-play. Runners on first and third. They count for the pitch. Curveball, swung on, hit deep. Right field, back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little red. I love saying the girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep, especially when you're hitting deep into McCovey Cove over there on the dock of the bay in San Francisco, California, also known as Dimdale Hills. Then the show's uploaded to 28 multiple podcast platforms out of New York City. And I'm in Dimdale Hills, California. And then number 10, I never missed a show since creating Big City Sports with the crew back in the day at Salem Media, all fair and level work. And you want to give that some praise. Give me some praise. Isn't that something? Big City Sports has been talked about televangelism. Isn't that something? I really appreciate that. I didn't ask for it, but I guess some people think I do a church show. At the same time, I want to pay homage to our veterans. There's a Veterans Crisis Hotline. It's not my hotline. It's yours. It belongs to all of us. It takes all of us. You know anybody going through issues, they really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. If you know anybody going through issues, you got to pick up the phone and you got to call that Veterans Hotline. It's 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give us some praise because we all need somebody to lean on. I know we all need somebody to lean on. And that's what they do. They give you someone to lean on. They will stand on their head to get you some help. Our veterans really need help. And there's something coming that may or may not make sense to a lot of people. Well, we know that a lot of veterans deal with opioid issues, and unfortunately, people dealing with fentanyl, which is not very forgiving. And there is talk about cannibalizing the healing effects of cannabis to help some of our veterans get rid of their post-traumatic stress disorder. Oh, there you go, talk about stress disorder, Curry. But the point is, we don't have to agree on your thoughts on cannabis. But we know at the federal level, there's still some issues with it. On the state level, some states have concluded that it's actually more of a natural remedy. Now, when we deal with fentanyl, I thought this was a sports show, Curry. Yeah, it's a sports show, but it's about reality. Because fans come in all kind of flavors and colors. And we hear, at least I hear on the news, that fentanyl is really a huge problem in the United States now. I mean, there has to be education on not using it. And it doesn't matter how much they put in front of people, but if you're a kid, you don't know what it is. You might think it's candy. How many kids just grab some candy and put it in their mouth? They don't know what it is. But at the same time, when our veterans, their minds are scattered because they've been traumatized so much. And there's talk about how to get some cannabinoids that it's going to help them heal better and get away from the opioids. I know you can't please everybody, but I don't know anyone that says we should not do something about the dangers of fentanyl. Give doing something about the dangers of fentanyl some praise. You got to lead, follow, and get out of the way, and stop being so hooty-tooty and acting like you've never done anything wrong, if that makes sense to you. I really love our Veterans Crisis Hotline. I do want to say thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then he said, let there be light. And I want to shine some light on so many things that are important to me. I really do have a lot to talk about today. It won't be as much sports. It's never as much sports, Curry. Well, I'm going to do the best I can, if that makes sense to you, to lead, follow, or get out of the way. And it doesn't mean it's for everybody, but I do want to pay homage to the Associated Press. You can't get much bigger than the Associated Press! Because she called me after a hearing on reparations. They just had another one in San Francisco today. It was on March 29, 2023. And she called me a sports show about reparations. I wanted to get my thoughts on reparations. She didn't call other people. She called me. I mean, you can Google it, March 29, 2023. She also mentioned Kamala Harris and President actually Vice President Kamala Harris and President Joe Biden, as well as California Governor Gavin Newsom. But I said, how'd you get my number? She said, we have our ways. I said, what made you call me? She said, I heard you speak, and you're not like the others. And she said, I want to get your thoughts on reparations. And I'm telling you what they said in San Francisco today. They said, reparations now, reparations forever. And you got to give us some praise. There's a lot of people that say, oh man, we don't want to hear about no reparations. But I like to give out the facts when it comes to Big C Sports. We're not just about talking about a sports show or a sports game and who won a game or who's bigger, stronger, and faster. I like this. This is the part of the show that I give out a quiz. Take out your cell phone or your electronic device, and I want you to Google it. You got 3 seconds. What can you do in 3 seconds? A whole lot. Okay, maybe not a whole lot. But Google Survivors Today Act of 2017. Google it. I didn't write this stuff. It says the Justice for Uncompensated Survivors Today Act of 2017 is United States legislation that requires the State Department to report to Congress on steps that 47 countries in Europe have already taken. They've already done it to compensate Holocaust survivors and their heirs for assets seized by Nazi Germany and post-war communist government. And we give that praise. So today, for those of you who don't know that, you can't say you don't know it now. So today in San Francisco, California, there's so many talks about what are the next steps for reparations for descendants of child slavery in the United States. I just told you what they've already done for our Jewish brethren. The State Department has done that. Well, Janie Hart, the Associated Press, also had an article. And today, they met in San Francisco. San Francisco supervisors, backed by the idea of paying reparations to descendants of child slavery because the word black has no standing in court. But where the members will agree to a lump sum payment of $5 million. $5 million is not enough! To every eligible person, or to any of the more than 100 other recommendations made by an advisory committee. It won't be known until later this year, but it will be known. You know, this first show is talking about this. They want to tell you about who's bigger, stronger, and faster. And it's almost insulting that this may offend people, but that's okay. When we have an Amber Alert because a white kid goes missing, they put it all over the news. And God bless the people who are missing, that they're found healthy and alive. It's all over the news. You know, through the Middle Passage, there's millions of people who died. You know, when black kids go missing, you don't really hear of anything. They say, oh, they must have been a runaway. Senator Stephen Bradford, California, he issued what's called the Ebony Alert that gives the same attention for black men and kids and boys and girls when they go missing. But think about this. The idea of black reparations is not new. So I want to correct Janie Hart, the Associated Press, because black has no standing in the court of law. It's descendants of child slavery. Just like they don't say Jewish reparations. They say descendants of Holocaust. You got to know the difference. But the federal government promise. You ever promise somebody something? Promise of granting 40 acres and a mule to newly freed slaves. It was never realized yet. This is 2023. I just told you to do an exercise to Google. There's a Survivors for Today Act of 2017. They've already done it for Holocaust survivors and their heirs. And we're having meetings in San Francisco to decide, is it time now for descendants of child slavery? All that came from the African continent. Everybody knows that. Even if you're dumb, you can Google that. If you're the dumbest person in the universe, you can still Google it. And if you're the dumbest person, Google it. Especially if you're anti-reparations, Google it. But think about the state of California and the cities of Boston and San Francisco are among jurisdictions trying to atone not just for chattel slavery, but for the decades of racist policies and laws that systemically denied black Americans, our descendants of chattel slavery, access to property, education, and the ability to build generational wealth. When you look at the wealthiest parts of the United States of America, you got to know, unless you're the dumbest person on the planet, that the United States government, it gave away over 276 million acres of land to only white people. And even white Europeans. You know you couldn't be black to get that money. The federal government said no. We don't acknowledge black Americans. Thanks for all that free labor. Thanks for all the free labor for building this country. But they gave land to white people. Imagine during the Civil War when President Abraham Lincoln promised 40 acres and a mule. You know he did that because it was black soldiers that helped save the Union. They were going to lose to the Southern Confederates and the KKK. You know when Lincoln was assassinated, President Andrew Johnson came along and he vetoed the bill. And he gave the land back to the people who were trying to overthrow the government. And they never gave it back. And they didn't pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. And now they've trained most black Americans or descendants of chattel slavery to only show up for a touchdown, home run, three-point play. Old man Willie, he's going all the way. You can watch it every day on TV. They don't even acknowledge the most seminal moment in the history of the United States for black Americans or descendants of chattel slavery. That's the Emancipation Proclamation. It wasn't integration. It wasn't the Civil Rights Act. It wasn't Plessy versus Ferguson. It wasn't Brown versus Board of Education. It was the Emancipation Proclamation. And now they're talking about paying reparations to descendants of chattel slavery. The lawmakers are doing this. The clergy's behind it. Decent people, black and white. There's some sorry but people that are not behind it because they're ignorant. But when our descendants of Holocaust survivors were getting reparations, they didn't ask you what your opinion was, did they? And some of those same Southern Confederates, they had babies too. And they grew up and they inherited the land that was bequeathed by blood money. That land was meant for black Americans. And they never gave it back! Walk into a bank, I'm not advising you to do this, walk into a bank and they realize they're behind glass, most of them. They have money that don't belong to you. And if you go in there and try to take it, you can have law enforcement come down on you. So what happened to all the land and the money that was due for black Americans or descendants of chattel slavery? They walked into the bank, they stole it. They took all of it. They burned down the Black Wall Streets. They murdered people. And the government did nothing to atone for it other than say, let's lift up your voice and sing and issue an apology. If you go take billions of dollars from a bank, they don't ask you to apologize. They send the power of the law to take back what you stole. But you know who's never had to give back? Southern Confederates. And all that money and land that was bequeathed, that was earned by black Americans who joined the Union to win the Civil War. They never gave it back! And now we have, and it's just my opinion, that's oftentimes our black brethren, when they get a microphone, they don't even talk about it. Because they're afraid. They don't have the stones the size of a mustard seed! Oh, but what if the Southern Confederates don't want me talking like that, Curry? The Southern Confederates, they know they stole the land, just like a bank robber know they stole the bank money. They know it. And so when these major cities like San Francisco and Boston, not everybody's intelligent that lives in San Francisco and Boston. They have some Southern Confederates too that moved in those cities. And they're anti-reparations. Even though Holocaust, descendants of Holocaust, are getting reparations as we speak. And they got most of us bamboozled by wanting to see sports. Touchdown! Home runs! Replay play! Old man Willie! He's going all the way! And a lot of people can't even afford their tickets. The black migration to San Francisco, it soared in the 1940s because of shipyard work. But racially, listen up! You anti-reparationists. Racially restrictive covenants and redlining. I know some of you too dumb to know what that means, but you can Google it. It limited where people could live. So when black residents were able to build a thriving neighborhood in the Fillmore, the government redevelopment plans in the 1960s had forced out residents, and it stripped them of their property, and it decimated the black-owned businesses. Oh, pull yourself up by your bootstraps! Now the city of St. Louis is approaching the question of reparations for black citizens, descendants of child slavery. And I ask all of my white brethren, especially those of you who inherited land and money from those Southern Confederate families that received the land that was due for black Americans, that made you build up wealth. When you own land, you can go to the bank and get a loan. When you go to the bank and get a loan, you can buy a business. You can buy life insurance. You can buy a lot of things from stolen money. There are many people to this day, they got a lot given to them by the same government that told black Americans no. Thank you for all that free labor. Today, fewer than 6% of San Francisco's residents are black or African American. Yet they make up nearly 40% of the city's homeless population. That's by design. Supporters include that the San Francisco NAACP, although it said the board, think about this. It said the board should reject the $5 million payments and instead focus on reparations through education, jobs, housing, healthcare, and a cultural center for black Americans in San Francisco. It's not enough! What fool would turn down money? See, there's also insiders that they'll plant in the quote-unquote black community that say, oh, we don't want no reparations, boss. I want to pull myself up by my own bootstraps. And no Southern Confederate ever said they want to give back the land or the buildings or the business or the farms that they get through ill-gotten gains. San Francisco, the president of the San Francisco branch is Reverend Amos C. Brown. I've met with him many times, who sits on both the statewide and San Francisco reparations panels. And what is the argument against reparations? Critics say that California and San Francisco never endorsed chattel slavery, and there is no one alive today who owned slaves or was enslaved. It's not fair for municipal taxpayers, some of whom are immigrants, to shoulder the cost of structural racism and discriminatory government policies. Some critics say, those same damn critics, they said nothing about redlining and gerrymandering and gentrification. I just told you the government kicked black folks out of their property. Where were the critics then? They were saying nothing. Most well-to-do neighborhoods now, they're Caucasian. Why is that? You go to the most expensive parts of any city in the United States, and you'll find white person after white person after white person. Why is that? I just told you the Homestead Act, it gave over 276 million acres of land to white people. They didn't work for it. An estimate from Stanford University, the Hoover Institution, which leans conservative, it said it would cost each non-black family in San Francisco at least $600,000 in taxes to pay for the costliest of the recommendations. You notice how the people who are anti-reparations, they say nothing about giving back what was stolen. They kept saying what it's going to cost them to have to give it back. It's not about the white taxpayers. We have fiat currency in the United States. Every dumb person, Google fiat currency. Google it! How many of you paid more taxes when President Zelensky got $100 billion? None of you did. It's fiat currency. It's not backed by gold, people. The $5 million per person payout guaranteed income of at least $97,000 a year for 250 years, personal debt eliminated, and converting public housing into condos to sell for $1. A 2022 Pew Research, a survey, it found that 68% of United States respondents that were Caucasian, you know, the Southern Confederates that got all that land that was given to black people, but Andrew Johnson vetoed that bill and gave it to white people who lost the war, the Southern Confederates. He gave it to the people that tried to overthrow the government. You know, many of those people oppose giving it back. They don't want to give the money back that was gotten by ill-gotten hands, ill-gotten gains with unclean hands. You ask the Ku Klux Klan if they believe that reparations should be paid for something they got with ill-gotten hands, unclean hands, ill-gotten gains. Nearly 80% of black Americans surveyed supported reparations. 80%? Who's the dumbass that don't want it? They just stole it from you, your ancestry. The government did it, not your next door neighbor. The United States government. And now they try to find some ignorant people that say, oh, I don't want no reparations. Of course they stole it, but I don't want it back. People got alarms on their houses. They got alarms on their cars. And they even got passwords on their credit cards and their bank accounts. And they say if somebody steal it, the first thing they do is they call the bank or they call law enforcement to say, I've been robbed. And you think they found someone that dumb to say, oh, I don't want what was stolen from my ancestry that should have been given to me? See, they always find dumb people that say, I don't want what was stolen from my ancestry. I don't want what should have been bequeathed to me. Property rights, gerrymandering, redlining. Some people don't even know what redlining means. It means when you go to these exclusive neighborhoods that are Caucasian, 98% of them Caucasian, that's because the banks only made loans to white people. They're still in the real estate laws today that some properties cannot be sold to non-whites. It's not because they work harder. In the banking industry, they have their ways too of making sure if you're not white, you're not getting approved. That's why some of the nation's largest banks, they lost settlements for discrimination. Google it. More than 90% of Republicans, this is from the Pew Research, are those leaning Republican. They oppose giving money back that was given to them through ill-gotten gains in the Homestead Act. They oppose it. They say, well, we got it and we're going to keep it. And they also oppose reparations. They acknowledge that they received money and land and resources from the Homestead Act that only blessed white people. You couldn't be black. And now they're going to tell you that they have some moral ground to stand on, that they were getting land and resources from the government. That asked those same people if they believe that they should repair what was done to black Americans, descendants of child slavery. And some say, oh no! Even the dumb ones, they know that's wrong. So how will San Francisco pay for this? It's not clear. They didn't have a hard time figuring out how to pay our Jewish brethren, what they call Holocaust survivors. Just follow their plan and give that some praise. It's an insult that they're still trying to make it about black people. It's about right and wrong. Black Americans helped end Hitler's reign in Nazi Germany. And they didn't even get the GI Bill. Our white soldiers did. So the committee says it's not clear how they're going to do this. Just look at what they did for President Zelensky. He already got the money. He didn't have to go through reparations meetings. He didn't need no task force. He came to the United States. He said, I need $100 billion. And they gave it to him. But he is white. And then he came back and asked for more money. So when it comes to San Francisco, how to finance and atone and repair. The same way you want your car repaired when it breaks down. The same way you want your houses repaired when they get burned down in the fire. By an act of God. And now you have insurance companies moving out of California. Reparations are repaid by fiat. It's fiat currency. It's not backed by gold. It's not backed by cattle. So there's so many things that happen today in San Francisco that will be the benchmark for what happens nationwide. Because I've yet to meet one white person that benefited from land given to them by the Homestead Act or their ancestry. Of course they don't live today. It happened in 1862. In 1863. Of course those people are not alive today. But you know who's alive? The people who received the land. You can give that some praise. They're not going to get that land back. Because black people were told, no, you don't get it. You got to be white. That same country, the United States, the land of the free. For the land of the free and the home of the brave. That country that we love so much fought in every war for it. The Union was going to lose the Civil War if not for Abraham Lincoln asking black soldiers to help in join. So recommendations in education include establishing an Afrocentric K through 12 before they get rid of all black education, especially down in Florida. But they're asking an Afrocentric K through 12 in San Francisco, hiring and retaining black teachers, mandating that a core of black history and cultural curriculum, and offering cash to at-risk students for hitting educational benchmarks. You know, like the endowments they have at Stanford and Harvard. Recommendations in healthcare include free mental health, prenatal care, and rehab treatment for impoverished black San Franciscans and victims of violent crimes and formerly incarcerated people. The advisory committee also recommends prioritizing that black San Franciscans for job opportunities and training, as well as finding ways to help rebuild black businesses, like the Black Wall Streets that were burned down by law enforcement and the white mobs. And you know those black citizens that have money in the banks? They said they couldn't find the record, so they couldn't give people their money back. They couldn't find the record to give people the money back. And you know that's a shame. So no matter what happens to your thoughts on reparations, you have to be the dumbest person on the planet to think that slavery was not the most cruel and unusual form of laws made to destroy a culture. And it takes good people, whether you're black or white. You know if you're evil. You know if you're cruel and you're evil. This is for decent people. What happens next? There is no deadline for supervisors to agree on a path forward. The board next plans to discuss reparations, and it has to be something decided on by the end of this year. And that's why I'm saying reparations now, reparations forever. Just do what we did for the sentence of Holocaust. It's the same thing. It's in writing. I'm proud of being able to talk to people that are part of the task force. I'm also reached out to the office of the #1 Senator of the United States of America, California Senator Stephen Bradford. We're communicating right now as part of the chair of the National Black Wall Street Project by the inimitable Reverend Tony Pierce, President and CEO of the National Black Wall Street Project. These things are happening as we speak. I just hope I get more black and white brethren to champion this cause, men and women, because it's the right thing to do. You got to give the right thing to do some praise. It's more important than who won a game. In fact, the task force has spent multiple meetings discussing time frames and payment calculations for 5 harms experienced by black people, including the government taking a property that some of our white brethren own to this day. Housing discrimination that banks have paid billions of dollars in fines for intentionally discriminating. And when you put black on the application, there are times when they just say decline. There have been so many cases where a black family is looking for a loan and to get the house appraised, and it comes in substantially lower than a white family in that same neighborhood, similar home. Because the Ku Klux Klan is also in banking. The Ku Klux Klan is also in politics. The government took the land from black people, not your taxpayer. So people always say, well, the taxpayers got to pay money for these black folks. The taxpayers didn't take the black folks' land. It was the United States government. And that's why even if you're the dumbest person on the planet, you got to realize that fiat money is fiat currency. But some Klan members, they work in the media, so they want to make it about, oh, you're white, you're going to have to pay more taxes if we're going to treat black people fair? The government didn't ask your dumb opinion when they discriminated against black folks. When they passed the Homestead Act, they didn't put it to a vote. They just did it to destroy black families. They wanted to give white people everything because the Ku Klux Klan is also in politics. Housing discrimination, homelessness, mass incarceration. President Biden signed the crime bill. Now we have a fentanyl problem. They're not trying to massively incarcerate white people, are they? They're trying to send you to counseling. Get you some counseling. They're not trying to put you in prison and destroy your family. They did it for black people. And it didn't raise your taxes, did it? The task force is also debating state residency requirements. And previously the state committee voted to limit financial reparations to people descended from enslaved or freed black people in the United States as of the 19th century. I just want to say, give the discussion some praise because I've been championing on Big C Sports Podcast. Reparations now, reparations forever. Now they're talking about it again in San Francisco. I just so appreciate that because I couldn't find any of our other black or white brethren talking about it. They're too busy talking about football and basketball and baseball. And many of them, their family would benefit the most, white and black. Because when reparations happen, and it's going to happen, I told you that, they've already committed to between $1 to $3 million for each California resident. That's going to happen. I'm going to be the first person in the universe to broadcast it all over the world for Big C Sports. And I'm one beautiful, intelligent black man. I don't suck and jive. If you can't Google what I say, don't listen to me. But I ask you to hold everybody else to that same level of credibility. Oh, Big C, you're going to look like a fool if they don't pass reparations. It's already in the books. It doesn't matter what a lot of people say. You just gotta know these things. I want to give some praise to an advocate, a model entertainer, a financier by the name of Double O. She sent me this executive order, and you can Google it. Executive Order 13985 on further advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. You got to give that some praise. That means the White House. She sent that to me because there are people who know about reparations. And you can listen. This is not Big C's writing. Section 1 on policy. This is President Biden on my first day in office. He didn't say it as loud as I said it. I signed Executive Order 13985. This was sent to me by Double O. He signed it on January 20, 2021. Advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government, not your neighbor, which charged the federal government with advancing equity for all, including communities that have long been underserved and addressing systemic racism. Now, I know some of you too dumb to understand what systemic racism is, but I just told you a dumb butt. The Homestead Act, it was systemic. It only gave 276 million acres of land to white people. You have to be white. Oh, there you go, Curry. Talking about race again. That's the United States government did that. I didn't do it. And then to double down on it, like a good carpenter says, you measure twice, you hammer once. You don't hammer twice and measure once. You measure twice and hammer once. I learned that when I was a kid. We tried to build a fence sometime. My granddaddy told us what to do, and we were measuring and hammering, and measuring and hammering, measuring and hammering. By the time we ran out of wood, that fence was 2 feet short. He said, didn't I tell you guys to measure twice and hammer once? We said, Granddaddy, we were too busy eating these cookies. You can't get a kid to build a fence. But he tried to show us. He made us undo those nails and measure it again. And next thing you know, we did it right. You know, he made us repair what we had broken. So what President Biden said, addressing systemic racism in our nation's policies and programs. By advancing equity, the federal government can support and empower Americans, including the many communities in America that have been underserved, discriminated against, and adversely affected by persistent poverty and inequality. I know some of you are too dumb to know what the word inequality means, but you can Google it. We can also deliver resources and benefits equitably to the people of the United States and rebuild trust in government. Give that some praise. It benefits everybody. For the people that say, well, I never owned slaves, the government did, you dumb butt. I'm so tired of dumb people. I've heard some people on television, well, I never owned slaves. Well, why would my tax dollars go up? He just told you. The government did it. But when it's about helping black folks, there are some people that they're part of the Ku Klux Klan. They work in media. They want to make it about anti-black. All that came from the African continent. If you know where you come from, maybe you respect your root a little better. All that came from the African continent, from 9 series DNA. Over the past 2 years, through landmark legislation, including the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, Public Law 117-2, the Bipartisan Infrastructure and Investment and Jobs Act, Public Law 117-58, Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, a division of a Public Law 117-167, known as Creating Helpful Incentives to Produce Semiconductors, called CHIPS. There's so much that is in law that many of us don't know because we're so busy going touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Oh man, Willie, he's going all the way. I told you my show would get different. Reparations will pass, and Big C is supposed to be the first one to champion up. Reparations now, reparations forever. Number 1 sent me Executive Order 13985. Beautiful, intelligent black woman, and people got to know that this stuff is there. But if you're too busy wondering who won the game, those checks will not be televised. You got to give people praise. I love giving praise. And I also want to thank CNN for sponsoring Big C Sports Podcast. I even heard Anderson Cooper's voice on the commercial where it says Big C Sports will continue in just a moment. Thank you for CNN. Give that some praise. This is CNN. I want to also give some praise to the California Reparations Task Force. I want to say I've spoken to all of them. The chair, Camila Moore, attorney at law, brilliant, give us some praise. Dr. Amy C. Brown, vice chair, brilliant, give us some praise. The number 1 senator in the United States of America going to be meeting with Big C Sports. California Senator Stephen Bradford, give us some praise, he's brilliant. Council member Monica Montgomery Stephanie, give us some praise. Also got correspondence out for Assembly member Reverend Joan Sawyer, give us some praise. Dr. Shell Grills, give her some praise. Attorney Lisa Holder, give her some praise. Brilliant. Dr. Devon Scott Lewis, Professor Cal Berkeley, you're brilliant. Give her some praise. And Attorney Donald K. Tamaki of the California Reparations Task Force, give them all some praise. I love saying that with Big C Sports. And I'm so grateful. There's just so much that that I'm so proud of. I'm so proud of people who want to go forward and do the right things. I'm going to talk just a little bit about some sports, because part of what happened in sports is we spend too much time. I mean, it's okay. Sports unites people. I got a conversation today. I got a call from a colleague that wants Big C Sports to be open to working with the clergy. Isn't that something? I'm the only sports show in the universe that constantly quotes you scripture on every show. I told you Genesis 1 verse 3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then he said that to be like, there's a lot of things that are going on in our country that are great. And I just love being a part of it. I love being a part of what Roger Goodell mentioned about NFL and creating equality. If you look at the end zones of NFL stadiums now, you see end racism. You know how you end racism? What President Abraham Lincoln said when he said, reparations now, reparations forever. End racism, like reparations, like our Jewish brethren got. Holocaust heirs. I just told you that. And if you missed it, I told you again, everything I say, you can Google it. I don't make up nothing. You can Google Survivor Today, Act of 2017. That's for the knuckleheads that are saying we don't need reparations for the sin as a child of slavery, and black folks built this country. Had no life insurance, no health care, no pension, no retirement, no vacation pay, nothing. And when you benefited because you have white skin, which is only 6 series DNA, Dr. Leakey Gregory Mendel told us all life came from Africa. The gene of the dominant gene can reproduce every hue of color on the planet. They call it black. That's Mendel. The dark seed can reproduce the recessive gene. The recessive gene cannot reproduce the dominant gene. That's nature! Dr. Leakey was looking for the origin of man. He went to Europe, but he didn't stay long. And he traced the origin of man back to Africa, to the womb of a black woman. 9 series DNA. You gotta give that some praise. They've been using her blood to research cancer. Black woman. They didn't do that to white people. You look at the trauma that has happened to people. Imagine going to pick up your kid from school today. Imagine you in a lily white suburb that was given to you through the Homestead Act, not because you earned it. You're in a lily white suburb, and you're going to pick up your little kid from school, little 5-year-old boy, 5-year-old girl, and they say, oh, didn't somebody already pick him up? You say, no, who picked up my kid? And the government said, oh, we sold your kid. What? Yeah, we sold your kid. You sold my kid! Yeah, we sold your kid. People would call law enforcement right away. You know that happened to black people from 1619 to 1865, and you say the country should not repair the damage of that trauma? If your kid's missing for 5 minutes, you have a heart attack! And you sit back with your evil ways, and you say we don't need to pay reparations. And if your kid's missing for 5 minutes, let it be even 10 seconds in the mall. Every parent has went through that fear at one point in your life. You're at the park, you're at the mall, you go to pick up your child from school, and they're not there. Imagine that happening, how you feel after 10 seconds. And now the principal comes out and says, oh, we sold your kid. What? You sold my kid? Yeah. And imagine if you could do nothing about it. That's what it was like being black in America from 1619 to 1865. And you have some evil people saying, well, we don't deserve reparations because that happened a long time ago. You couldn't get past 10 seconds. Imagine getting probably 16, 19 to 18, 65. And I know they train a lot of our brethren to just go, touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Oh, Deion Sanders going to beat Oregon. They already got the point spread so high that even if Colorado loses, if they cover the point spread, Vegas wins anyway. I know we're so drunk in love about what's a coach going to do. Even Jerry Jones was talking about Deion Sanders if he could coach the Dallas Cowboys, get that NFL job. Well, Jerry Jones and all the NFL owners, a lot of them know where their money came from. I told you, Homestead Act of 1863 and 1862. It gave land to white people. Land is worth money. And when those families had that land, when they passed away, it bequeathed down to future generations. And some of those generations, they were born in this last 50, 60 years. And they benefited. The government gave them the money. It didn't do it for black Americans. Didn't give them GI Bill. The United States, along with Europe, helped rebuild Germany after the war. And now people go to Europe on vacation. It's called the, why am I forgetting the name of the bill? But you know what it is. They rebuilt it. And I'm drawing a blank on the law, but I know what it is, and so do you. The Marshall Plan. The Marshall Plan. Give me some praise. I knew it would come to me called the Marshall Plan. You know who did not benefit from the Marshall Plan? Black Americans. Even though we helped this country win every war it's been in. Everyone! And now we just want to see who won a game. But that's why basic sports is different. You got to give me some praise. I know you want to know who won a game. Google it, if that makes sense to you. But we live in a beautiful country because they're going to start repairing some of the damages because it's called reparations now. Reparations forever. So for good people and decent people in this country, just look yourself in the mirror and ask, what would God think of stealing from people from 1619 to 1865 and never paying up? What would God think? We all know that it's the worst thing that could happen. Slavery was the worst crime America's ever had. And Big C Sports is the only beautiful, intelligent black man that's willing to talk about it on a daily basis. And now it's about to happen, and there'll be more people that follow. Oh, well, you know, I was afraid because I didn't know, I never thought it could happen. And I'm telling you, city after city and government municipality, they're talking about it right now. As we watch football and we're drunk in love with football and basketball and baseball. And I love it too. But it's the right thing to do. And it takes good people. It doesn't matter what color you happen to be. All life came out of the dominant gene, which is called black. That's science. Even if you're a dumb person, you can Google it. But I just want people to understand that I love what I do with this show. It's not for everybody. Some people just want to be dumbed down. They want to watch their favorite team. They want to cheer for their favorite athlete. And some of those athletes, they don't give a damn about you. They got theirs, get yours. But Big C Sports is the only sports show in the universe, all over the world, from sea to shining sea. And people can Google what I'm saying. I do a lot of research. I also speak from my higher self. I try to do what's right. And I just thank God that I met a lot of smart people along the way. And I love giving praise where praise is due. And I'm asking for the clergy to help in getting reparations now, reparations forever. People go to church talking about getting into heaven. You can have heaven on earth if you tell the truth and honor President Abraham Lincoln. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I told you I'd talk about some sports. I got Major League Baseball tonight, and they're getting ready for more football coming up over the weekend. How's that for you? But today's different. Another meeting in San Francisco, reparations. I just want to congratulate everybody that really wants to be a part of a sea change in the United States of America, because it's going to happen. And I give God all the praise for that. As I always tell you on every show, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. You could call Uber, you could call Lyft, you could walk it off, you can sleep it off. But don't let some of your love drink, and then get behind the wheel of a car. The life you save may be your own or someone you love. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, you know what time it is. Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Houdini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, he said, you float like a butterfly, and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? I was going to say, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat, because all these big sea burgers make me laugh like that. And that's why I float like a butterfly, and I sting like a bee. My beautiful mother always says, there's never, ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. If you know anybody going through that garbage, pick up the phone and call 911. Things change when the police show up. No man, woman, or child should ever have to deal with that garbage. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Now, you know, as I always say, on every Big C Sports Show, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day. And now we honor President Abraham Lincoln. You don't know who he is, you can Google it. When he said reparations now, reparations forever. Say it like your team has won the game. Reparations now, reparations forever. Say it like you just won the championship. When President Lincoln said reparations now, reparations forever. I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day.